Hey everybody, Travis Holzem with Food Forest Design, Minnesota, coming to you from Roberts, Wisconsin, where I'm going to start building, where I'm going to line up or measure and string out the perimeter of this food forest, which will be enclosed by an 8-foot deer fence, similar to the one I put up already on the property over here. That's 65 feet by 65 feet. That encloses a fruit tree orchard, which I will be adding 3 more fruit tree guilds to that orchard, and then I'm going to be planting some other stuff in there around the outer perimeter of that fence that I already put up. Once I install the rodent barrier on the bottom, I'm going to cover it with some mulch, and then I'm going to plant wildflowers around the perimeter of that. So kind of discouraging to a rodent that's going to try to get through the fence. But anyway, they're not even going to see it. The rodent barrier is going to be buried, so if they try to burrow underneath, they run into it's like chicken wire, just a little bit smaller openings. It's black PVC coated hardware cloth that's 24 inches long or wide, whatever, I guess, because they're tall. And then you bend it in an L shape, 12 inches, zip tie it to the fence, and then we'll bury the bottom half. Normally you could probably dig a pit around the outer edge of the fence and bury that, but I'm choosing to cover it with mulch, like about 4 inches of mulch, and then we're going to plant wildflowers in that mulch around the outer edge of it. But let me turn you around and show you this food forest I'm going to be laying out today. I'm going to try to get the outer perimeter done and then start working on the inner rows and then the pathways, because we're going to have an 8-foot dual gate that's going to open up on the main side, on the home side, and on the back side there's going to be a 4-foot service gate, so you can get in and out through the back. But there'll be plenty of room for a lawn tractor or a side-by-side or your big wheelbarrows, everything. There's plenty of room in between the rows to work, and the rows are going to be 4 feet wide, maybe 5, because that way you can actually reach across the rows and it's not too long. The middle row will be the widest because there's going to be a seating area in the middle. It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm putting a grape trellis in on the end behind me is going to be the west or east side of the food forest, and that's the side that's going to have the grape trellis. It's going to be about 50 feet long and have 7 or 8 grape vines on it, and it's going to be a 4x4 with cable line, 3 cable lines. It's going to be nice trellis, and then I'm going to either do the Japanese wood burning technique. The name escapes me. I got it, I just can't remember it. Sensugi something. I can't. It's it's there because I did it down in Texas, down at Adrian Grenier's Kintsugi Ranch. But it's a wood burning technique that will seal the wood, but you use a torch and you burn the wood, and that seals it. It also looks pretty nice. So we're going to use that technique on the 4x4 posts, and then we're going to run the cables, and obviously we're going to plant the grapevines. And then there's going to be about 70. There's minimum 50 varieties of plants trees, fruit trees, berry bushes, perennial plants, perennial flowers, pollinators, insect attractors, your nitrogen fixers, your tubers, your roots, roots and tubers. You also have, we got the vining plants in here, and we're going to have, a bunch of fruit trees, a bunch of berry bushes, and then all the supporting plants planted all around. I will post, or on my website, foodforestdesignminnesota.com, you will be able to see what the original plan is. It's going to be configured a little differently because I'm changing the area and the layout of the original food forest, because we have to take into account the annual garden that's already there. That was not going to be included before, but it is now. It's different. Okay, we changed the plan up, and eventually we're going to put a pond in, and that pond is going to be at the highest point in this property, and that pond is going to feed the food forest and the orchard. Because of the slope, we're going to be able to capture water in that pond, and we're going to be, the overflow from that pond is going to be able to feed and support the food forest and the orchard. Also, we're probably going to put some swales up. When the pond goes in, we'll probably put some swales up so we can direct the water better and capture it better. But we're also going to be putting water catchment on the house and the shed to capture as much water as we can on this property for using to support this food forest. But I'm going to turn you around and kind of show you what we're doing here. Drying my tarp out, have my stuff over. If I zoom in, you can see that fence I put up already. See, you can see right through it. It doesn't affect your landscape at all. You can see right through it. It looks almost invisible. But anyway, we're going to be putting another fence like that up. Here's the annual garden here. We got a bunch of raspberries here. We're going to box those in with 2x12s, and we're going to box them in so they don't spread anymore. I was going to move them into a row on the outer edge of the food forest, but I think we're just going to box them and leave them right there. They're doing perfect. No reason to shock them, move them, and potentially kill some of them. And why mess with something that's already working, right? So I mean, look at, they're full of raspberries already. And then we have in the middle over here, that row, that's all rhubarb. And if I were to dig that rhubarb up, you wouldn't be able to eat the new stuff for 2 seasons or something like that. It has to have a full season in the ground or something. I don't know, it just don't taste right or something like that. And then on the outside of that, I don't know if you can see over there, on the outer edge that way is a long row of asparagus. And then if you look straight ahead, that's a long line of chives right there. And then here's all tomatoes. These are 2 rows of tomato plants, and then there's a whole bunch of, I can't remember what she has planted in here. But we're gonna take this area and we're gonna put a bunch of raised garden beds, or we're gonna box this all in to contain all of this, just to make it easier year after year to plant your annual garden. And it's much easier to contain, easier to keep pests out. But there, yeah, enough on the annual garden. And that's a bunch of herbs, and there's some milkweed. That's oregano, a little nice patch of oregano, a lot of it. And then there's some mint and other stuff over there. But if you look at, if you can see that orange flag in the distance, let's see, where's the edge of my fence over here? And then we go out. See it right there? That's my southeast corner. And then where Mary is over here is my that's my northwest corner, southwest corner, southeast, northeast. Okay, yeah, because that's Milwaukee that way. That's East 94 going that way. West 94 goes that way to Minnesota. So, all right, so I'm gonna go, I am at the edge. Okay. So here we go. I'm at the edge of it. Let me get in the corner. So right about here, I have a stake in the ground by Mary over there. Let's see if you can see that stake I have in the ground. See it right in the middle, right in the middle up there. But anyway, that's my starting point. And then we're gonna measure 100 feet this way. But we're probably only gonna use 90 feet. I always measure long on the side so I can get my corners right. I'm not a fence builder, but I'm just learning. After putting up like 10 of these deer fences, you kind of learn as you go, and every time you get better at doing these, and they get easier and easier to do. And like, I could put this fence up in 2 days tops by myself, but I'm gonna get it done in 1 day. Today, if I have enough time, I'm gonna drill my corner posts and then cement those in. I got my Quickcrete over by my where all my materials are, and I could cement those posts in, and then that's done. I'll put the gate posts in later once we determine where that gate is going to go on this side. It's probably going to be right at the end of where that annual garden ends, right there. And then we'll probably have about a 10 or 12 foot. Actually, we'll have 10 feet there. There's an 8-foot opening. So we'll have a foot further than the annual garden. We'll put the first post, and then we'll go 96 inches for the second post, and then we'll use another foot, and then we'll start our row to where I'm standing. And then you're going to have a row all around the inner perimeter of the fence. And then there's going to be 4 rows on the inside, which are going to be roughly 80 feet long if you take pathways on each side. So maybe even shorter than that. I'll have it all lined out and I'll make a video of that, because I'm not sure yet until we get this all laid out. But that's what we're going to do. And this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful food forest. And then we'll add the other 3 fruit tree guilds to the orchard over there. And then, this property is amazing. It's about 2 acres total. And then closer to the house, either this fall or next spring, I'm going to build a brick herb spiral right where that slope comes down by the back door, right where it starts to flatten out, an herb spiral right in the middle of the yard. And that would be just a nice, beautiful centerpiece. And then on the back side of the orchard over here, she wants me to build a pergola or a gazebo, and then have wisteria and gumi gummy berries and all that vining up the gazebo. So this is going to be, food forests do not have to go in all at once. You can do them in phases. Like last fall, around the entire perimeter of this property, I planted 80 trees, mixtures of spruces, white pine, cedar, red maple, sugar maple, I think, birch, river birch, a couple of those, butternut, and we have some, I think, serviceberry, and I'm missing something. And then we have a row of sunflowers that's going to act as a filter for the farmers' property next door because they spray that poison all over their shit, right? So we put a line of sunflowers up, and that helps filter out all that garbage in the air and the soil, from what I understand. So that's why that row of sunflowers is going in, but they are doing okay. They're only about 1.5 feet tall right now, so they're not they're not flowering yet. But yeah, there we go. We got, all right, I gotta get to work so I can finish this and get home and get all this social media done and get my tree orders in, because I got a bunch of trees to order. I'll be getting most of them in this week, so I will be planting by next week. Once you see this big pile of mulch here, there's 60 yards of mulch, and obviously we're going to have all our pathways, and then in between each row we're going to have the pathways for traffic and your lawn tractors and stuff like that. And I will be using landscape fabric for the pathways, and then everything else, I'm going to till up this grass and kill it, and then we're covering it with about 6 inches of mulch everywhere, and that should kill the grass and not allow it to come back up. And then we will separate the mulch, dig our holes for our trees, add our good soil and soil amendments, and then we will be good to go. And then we're going to have to put a drip line irrigation in to keep these trees watered until their root systems take place, get established. So I'm going to keep them well watered. But this is pretty good soil out here, I guess you could say. I mean, we'll see. But anyway, that's that. Kind of long video. I kind of rambled a little bit, but hey, that happens. Anyway, you want to transform your backyard, front yard, lake home, business area, wherever, property on your business, into a food producing paradise. Get a hold of me. We'll design your property and we can install it for you too. Travis at Food Forest Design Minnesota.com. That is MN. So Food Forest Design MN.com. And then Food Forest Design MN.com is a website. And I have an assistant on my website. If you ask it any questions, it will be able to have a conversation with you and answer any question you have about designing or installing your food forest in your yard. And then you can set up a consultation with me, and we can talk about what you want to accomplish on your property, and we'll get it done for you. Have an amazing day, my friends. Let us foodify your yard. See ya.